Welcome to Creative Conversations, where creatives connect and inspire. I'm Sophia, and today we'll be diving into the creative world of Retro Rob, discussing his modelling and his photography. Let's get inspired. Rob, thank you so much for coming on today.
Hi.
This is so exciting.
Thank you for inviting.
I feel like
Thank
you
you.
and me have become such good friends already, yet we've never actually met in person.
Absolutely. I mean, how long have we known each other now and spoken on the phone and
I know,
connected
it's crazy.
and discussed vintage everything.
Exactly.
It's madness.
It is
But
madness.
great with the technology that it's just been great.
I
to be
know,
able
it's
to
been
actually
amazing. All
connect
those
with you.
FaceTime calls and us discussing styling, all the pictures we've been sending each other, all these ideas we've had for future plans, future shoots. It's just very exciting. And can I just say that you look impeccable today?
Well, thank you so much. There's a little something I put together after 24 hours. I must say you're looking pretty sharp yourself.
Thank you. It's all for you. I thought, well, I better dress vintage today. I've got to impress Retro Rob. I mean, come on. Talking about the
It's the only
retro
way to
fashion, can I ask, where did that come from? Where did that style start for you? Was it early on in your career? Or was it before your modelling career?
It was. Well, actually, to be straight with you, it actually was before my modelling career.
Oh, really? You've always been retro, Rob, have you?
Always been a little bit retro. I think we all get inspired by people in our lives, and for me, it was very much the Hollywood stars of the day. I mean, back in the 80s, when I was 18 years of age, yes, I was 18. I was inspired by a lot of the Hollywood stars of the time, the movies.
What kind of Hollywood
Once Upon a Time
stars?
in
Was there any particular ones?
Oh, boy, De Niro,
Ooh.
Pacino, all of the sort of the whole gangster genre.
Yeah, amazing.
Even James Cagney, going back to way back to the sort of black and white
Oh,
movies.
really? How did you
Humphrey
dress when you were a
Bogart.
teenager then? Were you very flamboyant then as well?
Yeah, I mean the 80s was very flamboyant at the time, so it was really cool. It was a really cool time to experiment.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd
There
love
are
to see some pictures. Have you got pictures of you when you were younger?
oh, maybe a bit have to find some of those pictures.
It'd be amazing.
No, I think in the 80s, there were lots of genres that you could follow and styles, so you could experiment without any qualms. There's pictures of me with eyeliner, with my hair when I had hair.
I used to quite dig guys with
straightened.
eyeliner, I used to find it quite weirdly attractive. I remember watching Burlesque and thinking, yeah, I dig that.
Yeah,
You've got to be the
it
right type
totally
of guy
works,
and you've
but
got to dress for it. If you're going to wear eyeliner, do you know what I mean?
oh, totally. I mean, and you've got to work out. I mean, you women, how you cope with eyeliner and keep it in your eyes through the whole evening, I'll know.
Yeah, neither do I, to be
It's
honest.
back in the day, your eyeliner be running by the end of the evening, and your mate would say, "Something wrong with your eyes. You look like pandas."
Did you wear
Oh, right,
flares
yeah,
back
sure.
then too?
Oh, 70s was flares. Yeah,
Oh, the
that was all
70s
about
was
the
flares. I love flared
flare.
jeans.
I've still managed to obtain a pair of those. I've got a pair of originals,
Oh, really?
so I do like the.
Oh, very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, love the flare.
So you kind of
All retro.
started your vintage fashion then in the 80s, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So I used to dress like that to go to work. So it would be with the fedora, the eyeliner, and the suits. The flash suits, the spats or two-tone shoes,
Wow.
and white gloves and a cane, and just going to do my day job
So
in
I
central
was
London.
a question I was gonna ask you is whether you like to step away from your normal job, which we'll talk about, kind of non-retro Rob, and then kind of stepping into these characters on camera. But it sounds like maybe that you're not stepping into a character. That is literally just you. You are that persona at all times. Because like this morning, I was holding up all my outfits and I was like, what do I want to wear today? And if you looked at them, each outfit was so different. I had one like girly flowery dress. I had one preppy outfit with a tartan skirt. Then I had a vintage look. Then I had a leather look. And I was like, I can't figure out who I want to be today. Do you ever have
Yeah,
that
yeah,
problem?
yeah.
Or is it through and through, you are retro Rob?
Well, I think, I mean, what you said is it's a lovely thing to do, and that's what I sort of loved about the modelling side of it, was that each day you could be something totally different. My sister used to call me Mr. Ben, which was a little program back in the 70s where this guy used to just dress into a character and be that character for the day. So I've got all sorts of outfits that I will just sort of take off the peg and think, do you know what? I quite fancy dropping into the 80s today. So it will be a total 80s look,
Yeah.
and that will be me for the entire day. And then there'll be times where I think, well, it's going to be 1920s today or 1950s.
And isn't it incredible that we have the opportunity to be able to do that? And I know you and me have rather huge wardrobes, but sometimes I find it a bit overwhelming. I go in there and I'm like, there's so many decisions, so much that you can play with, you know? I feel like we need to look at each other's wardrobes and style each other. How fun would that be?
Listen, that would be crazy cool.
That would be. And also, I'm holding you to the fact that you're going to style up my boyfriend one day. I think we should do one big vintage shoot, some storytelling stuff, and I want you to style him up, do that hair, and give him a suave outfit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I actually enjoy it. I've styled up a lot of women and a lot of guys for shoots because I research. I mean, a bit nerdy, I guess, on the look, but I do research it quite deeply. So I will go into the sort of Hollywood movies, and then I will go right back to original photographs from back in the day, and then try and source all those outfits. I mean, even a hat for me has got to have certain creases in certain areas.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a very poor copy. And I won't go for that. So it has to be very, very authentic. Even replicas have to be authentic, as far as I'm concerned.
So you have quite particular characters that you like to play, don't you, with your modelling? How do you decide what those characters are going to be, and how do you create them? How do you build it up when it comes to the look, the character, everything?
So for me, I mean, even at a very young age, even at sort of 13, I was very inspired by all the sort of Hollywood movies. So I used to love looking at, movies and taking a scene from a movie. I mean, one of the first movies that really inspired me was Bonnie and Clyde.
Such a good film.
And I thought that's such a cool film. And I just thought I've got to get that look somewhere along the line. So I mean, I had it in my head, all the way back from when I was 13, and then eventually through the years managed to pick up these things because not all the gear was available. I mean, the 80s, they had a real surge on the sort of the Art Deco scene. It was very, very popular at the time.
Yeah.
Then all the clothes came out, hats and so on. So that's where I sort of picked it up from there. But once I've seen something like that, then I think, well, okay, that scene, for example, has got a lot of emotion in it. How did they create that emotion? Oh, okay, it's that facial expression or it's that body position. Then I copy that when I do my sort of modelling. So
and it's impeccable.
I'll take that facial
your characters are amazing. I remember that's what drawn me to your modelling in the first place, especially your gangster looks. I'm obsessed. I think it's worrying how good you are at playing a gangster, actually. I think
it's quite. I remember shooting with a photographer in London, and he said, "Right, Rob. Okay, let's go down this side street." And he goes, "I'm just be a gangster." So I said, "Yeah, cool." So I dropped my gangster look on him, and he put his camera down. He went, "You don't have to do it. I mean, we can talk." The gangster look. He went, "Oh, I thought you were really going to go for me." I went, "No, that's just
hilarious,
the look, right?"
Really? Oh my, how funny!
Yeah,
you were really into character then.
Oh, you've got to make it look believable.
Exactly. I remember modelling once, and this guy said to me, a photographer, he was like, "Give me the meanest look you can," and I did. And he went, "Oh God, all right, maybe not that mean." He was scared, I think I'd obviously unlocked some inner anger there or something, but I was just giving my fierce. He asked for it, I gave it, but I think I'm guessing it was a little bit too much, maybe. But you and me, we take our characters seriously, right?
I want it to portray exactly what we're trying to get out there to the people.
Yeah.
And back in the day, you used to have things in cinemas called lobby cards, which would be little photographs, if you like, of the movie in the cinema, in the lobby area. And you would have scenes there where, something like out of Goodfellas or whatever, and you'd look at the picture, you can see a lot of tension in that picture, and look at the way they're looking. And I used to study that and think, I want to do that. So that's how I sort of get into it.
So go on then, tell us, how did you get into modelling? When was that? How much experience have you had in the modelling world?
Nothing. I've had a lot of experience in showing off.
Haven't you? I think you've got a lot of stories too. I've heard some of them. They're brilliant. But yeah, where did it all begin?
So it all began from a model who was on Purple Port, and she saw me dressed as I used to dress like this anyway. I mean, I used to dress like this to go to work, high waist trousers and the whole scene.
What was your work back
And
then?
she said, so I was customer services on
Brilliant.
a shop
You must have been the best
in
dressed
London.
guy in customer services.
What you said, they used to have awards for the best dressed in the business.
Oh, I
I
bet
used
you
to
won
keep
it
getting these.
every time, didn't you?
I always work, always work. But customers be looking at you going, "Are you? Is something going on
Amazing.
today in the shop?"
I
And
mean,
I'm like,
I always
"Oh,
find jobs just an excuse to dress up, really. Do you know what I mean? I worked in House of Fraser for a while and I was always wearing pencil skirts and stiletto heels. And I'd be falling all over the place, but I looked great. Do you know what I mean? Well, I thought I did anyway.
right, right, of course." And that it's your personality, and also I find that when you dress a certain way. It actually changes the whole mood with your customers as well, and it works really well. I used to have a lot of people just come back from
Yeah, I
other
bet.
countries to see me and say, "Oh, yeah, it's great to see you again."
Oh, that's lovely.
And
So you met
so it was
your
really, really,
friend from Purple Port while working in customer
yeah,
services and you were dressed
yeah,
obviously impeccably and she thought you need to start modelling. So how did you take it further
yeah.
from there then?
Well, it was quite funny because she said, "Well, I think you should do modelling," and I thought, well, I think I probably missed the window for modelling, and who would want to photograph me dressed like this? And I didn't really sort of take it seriously. I thought, well, I think it's very much a young thing, but said it's just your whole look. You just don't see guys dressed like that anymore, and I think I forgot about that because I've been doing this sort of look since, as I say, since I was
How
18.
old were you when you
You don't
started
tend to.
modelling then? How long ago was this?
So that was 10 years ago,
10
nearly.
years ago. Wow. That's amazing.
Years ago this year.
And I bet
So
you've had the
and
most
now
incredible time in those 10 years. I mean, you've travelled the world, you've worked with amazing people, you've done all these styling, amazing events, like so much exciting stuff's happened.
it has, and this is the other thing. That's what I love about the modelling world and the whole scene is that you're connecting with people that you wouldn't normally connect with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always made me laugh where people would go off for their weekend in the store. They'd be like, "Okay, Rob, have a nice weekend," and they'd come back and say, "Oh, I watched Netflix. I cut the grass." And what did you do? And I'm like, "Well, I travelled out here. I was playing a gangster.
Yeah.
I was playing a musician. I did a jazz scene." And it's like, wow, where did you go?
Yeah.
So me, that was just made it a whole lot more exciting
Yeah, I
and
So
a
how
lot
has
more
your
interesting.
approach to your modelling evolved over the 10 years?
For me, it's I think when you become a model, you really critique yourself quite hard because first off, it's quite frightening and quite daunting. I remember watching a guy on YouTube because I thought I want to know like how do male models operate? What's the trick? I mean, it's not all about. I remember doing my very first shoot, and that's the reason why I watched the YouTube. And I stood there, and it was a bit like a school photo. I sort of stood in front of the camera, and the guys go, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Take the photo." And he was like, "It's not a school photo." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, you don't look face on. You don't smile like that. You just
No.
you act." And I was like, "Wow, this is all different. This
It's a
is
lot to
crazy."
learn, isn't it? It's so daunting, the first photo
There
shoot
it
you
is.
have, and you're like, what do I do? How do I move my body? What do I
Yeah,
do with my face?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then you're standing there like that, and they're looking over here, going, "No, more this way, more that way." And it is like it's a skill. I mean, and you learn it over time. And watching the guy on YouTube, he looked like he was dancing because every time the camera clicked, he was just increments. But
Yeah.
when you saw the images at the end, they were editorial.
Yeah.
So I sort of thought,
It really is an art form,
okay,
modelling, isn't it? That flow of movements.
it is.
And that's something
Oh
that you
yeah,
do have to just perfect over time. Like I'm still learning. I mean, I've only been modelling like a year and a half and I've still got so much to learn, but the amount that I've taken in a year is crazy. And it is just from watching other models. So I've got a subscription to Vogue. So I just stare. I don't even look at the clothes anymore. I'm
yeah.
just looking at the models and how they're posing and trying to learn from it. But some of the poses
Well,
they do are just crazy, Rob. And I'm like, how do I do that? I'm going to break my back if I try. I'll still give
yeah,
it a go.
this is it. But you've got to be comfortable with it. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had photographers that pull pictures out of Pinterest and say, "Can you do that?" And it'll be somebody like standing up and leaning on one finger or something stupid, and you'd be, "No, I can't.
Leaning
I
on
can't
one
do
finger.
that. I can't do that, but I can do this." And
Yeah.
then they're like, "Oh yeah, that's interesting. Let's do that."
Yeah.
Or some contortionist stuff, and you just think, no, that's impossible. And I'm sure some of that's like tweaked as well. Trust me, he didn't really do that. But yeah, I mean, like yourself, I respect to you, because I hadn't realised it was such a short period of time. I mean, you've really excelled in what you do.
Thank
Everybody
you.
seems to know who you are.
I really appreciate
So
that.
respect you.
Same with you, though. And that's why we are going to be an absolute power team when it comes to doing our shoots together. Because how exciting. We both have, I think, like a really strong, I don't know how to explain this without sounding, I feel like both of us have people that really support us with our modelling and really look up to us. And it's such an amazing feeling to have that group of people, and to combine these photographers all together and work with all of them is going to be such an amazing feeling.
It's great. It reminds me of all the days back in the 80s where they would be people saying, well, let's get Stallone and Arnie together.
Yeah.
They're like, our names are out there, and they're like, well, let's get Sophia and Rob together. Wouldn't that be a crazy mix?
And I think it's going to be new for me on the learning front, because I haven't actually modelled with a male model yet. Other than my boyfriend, we've done bridal shoots, but that's as far as it's gone. And I've done a few duos with female models, which is great, but it's a very different style of modelling, I think. It's been very high fashion stuff, so I'm really interested to do more of a storytelling, vintage vibe with you and just see how it goes. And I feel like you'll be teaching me probably more than I'll be teaching you, because I'll be learning from you. I want to see how the pro does it, And I can't wait to use all your props and everything as well. So exciting.
Oh gosh, well, props, I've gone nuts with props.
Yeah, where do you keep them all? Like, how does your wife find having all these random props around the house?
Just a few of them I've had to sort of hide them in the loft, and there are some doesn't know about. Like, you couldn't have bought that. I didn't buy it.
No,
because it just takes over the entire house. I mean, from everything, saxophones to trumpets to clarinets to original 1950s microphones, original press cameras from the 1940s, that sort of thing.
Amazing.
I look at these. I need that, and people say to me, why don't you just get it from somewhere and borrow it? But I'm so particular; it's got to look how I want it to look with what I'm wearing and for the scene as well.
So where do you find these props? Where do you look for them?
Everywhere, online, eBay, and Vinted, wherever I can see them. Even charity shops, you might see something that doesn't exist anymore, and you think, or you know what, I could take that and tweak it and make it work to how I want it to look. I remember looking for button-down spats. 22 years I was looking for a set of those, and I found them in San Francisco, and bought two.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you ever find that you get something in your mind, what you want for a photo shoot, and you keep thinking about it, and then suddenly it just appears out of nowhere, the exact thing that you visualise? Because I get this quite a lot, and it's like you've manifested it, and it's like, oh, there we go, perfect. Does it happen to you too?
There you go. See, I'm down with that 100%. I mean, the secret thing of you focus on it and keep focusing on it, it's going to turn up.
Yeah, but then at the same time, don't obsess in the point that you're like, I need it now. It will come to you when it's ready.
Right, that's it. It will just, like you say, it will come to you, and you, as soon as you see it, you have to think, right, that's it. Don't dither, buy it, or go with it, because realizing now a lot of style it's disappearing. I mean, I'm having to get a lot of original clothes now and vintage, because the cut clothes and things is totally different, as you know. The quality of everything's changed.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm such a snob when it comes to quality of clothes. I like the fit to be, good, and I like it to be well made. That's where all my money goes, is on clothes, Rob. It's a nightmare.
Because listen, if you get do right. That's what it's all
exactly. Exactly.
But I do. I also look for very, very good copies as well.
Where do you find the copies then? Is that at the same kind of places?
Well, do you know what? You're going to find it in some of the most unusual places too. So I was down the Edgware Road many years ago, and these sort of shops you get in central London with the souvenirs, and they sell luggage and umbrellas and all that sort of bits and pieces and what. And I walked past the window, and this guy had these geometric ties in the window, all sort of like real 1930s, 40s designs, but new. And I thought, I sort of rubbed my eyes and thought, no, that looks all wrong. I mean, those ties look crazy cool. And what are they doing here?
Yeah.
So I walked in and I thought, well, let's see, they're going to be really expensive. I said, I had all my sort of bike gear on because I ride a Vespa, an old Vespa. So I had all my leathers
Oh,
on,
so
crash
jealous. I
helmet.
would
And
love a Vespa. I want like a pale blue one so
oh,
I can look like Audrey Hepburn in is it Roman Holiday when she goes on the Vespa?
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
That's it. That's how you
exactly.
do it. Well, I'm because I'm a bit of a collectory thing on anything really. So I've got three Vespas. I've got
Three
a blue
Vespas.
one and a white one.
Wow. That's the
Uh,
dream.
so two originals, and I had to get a twist and go for work because of the emissions and so on. But I've got them all badged up. So if we could probably get that sorted, I'd get you on one of the Vespas and do a shoot.
That's
You
a
would look
great
great.
idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That I wonder
There you
what.
go. There
Oh,
you go.
you've got my inspiration
Yeah, no,
going
no, you
now.
see,
Especially because I sent you those Audrey Hepburn shots that I wanted to do with you with
yeah.
the ball gown and everything. But maybe we should throw in a bit of Roman Holiday in there too. That'd be really fun.
Oh, I'll send you a couple of pictures of them later. I'll let you
That
see.
would be great.
But yeah, and I said to the guy, I said, how much is the tie? And you never want to look like you know what you're buying, so the price always jumps.
Yeah,
And
but
he
by
went,
the way you're
well,
dressed,
the
I bet
best
it
I
looks like you know what you're doing, though. You need to go round in a tracksuit and then they won't they'll
well, I was
underestimate
all
you.
well, because I had my leather jacket on and crash helmet. I didn't look anything
Oh,
like it, so
perfect. It's just
I
like you're in
was
disguise.
my disguise. And I said, oh well, and he went, best I can do is $5.99 for one, and if you bought a couple. So in the end, I looked at all of them, and they were just wow. So I bought 42 off him straight.
42? Oh my goodness. Where do
Yeah,
you
40.
keep them all?
They would be in my loft again with all my other things. He
My
kept
God.
saying to me, I do umbrellas and luggage. And I went, yeah, I don't want any of those, just the ties.
Just the
And he went,
ties.
oh, let me show you something. Yeah, because it was when I went, yeah, I'll take this rail. He was like,
Fantastic. Oh my God. See, I'm such a hoarder of stuff like that because you never know what you're going to need with photo shoots. You know, someone could come up with the most random look and it's nice to know that you can just pull it off a hanger and say, yeah, I've got that. And I didn't realize how important
right.
accessories were until I got into modeling. Like I had loads of nice clothes, but I didn't have much of a shoe collection, hat collection, what else? Jewelry. And I didn't realize how that can make or break an image. You know, a big pair of statement earrings and an amazing necklace can create a look and make it Hollywood. If you just wear a red dress, sometimes it just can be a bit boring, you know, and that's taken me some time to like get used to the whole styling element of things. I feel like you could actually get another job doing the styling. It sounds like something you'd be really
Do
good
you know
at.
what? I love styling women as well. I mean, I remember doing a shoot in Birmingham, and I had a female model to work with. I'd never worked with her before,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a little bit nervous about the look. So I said, look, it's not a problem. I can style you. I can tell you what to buy. So she had her phone on video while she's walking around Superdrug saying, what colour lipstick? What colour? I went, no, 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 the one on the left. It's got to be that one. Tries it on. I said, okay. And then buy this and buy this. So we went shopping with her phone. I'm sat in my
So
lounge
you
here
know
in
about
South
makeup
London.
as
She's in
well. That's
Birmingham.
fantastic. If you ever want to give
Oh,
women
yeah,
some
yeah.
advice about the best red, I haven't actually got it on today because I couldn't find it, but it's Ruby Roo by MAC.
Right.
It's iconic. It's
Ruby Roo.
Ruby Roo.
Right. I'll see. There you
It's
go.
amazing. And
That's
it's a
it. Once you
matte,
got these names.
long-lasting lipstick, so they can put it on in the morning and it's going to last all day. So it's fantastic if you're modelling or if you've got events, you know. So
Right.
there you go.
So you see, that's so important because it's got to last, right?
Yeah,
Especially on
exactly.
shoots.
Stage
Especially.
makeup's a whole other ball game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
I've got face powder. I buy all the expensive
so
stuff.
talking about all the styling you do with women, you also do photography, am I right?
Yes, yes, you are.
So when did that come about then?
Well, it actually, sort of, it was always in the back. I mean, I've always admired photography.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the old black and white photos, but it really came about in the pandemic when we were all sort of locked down. There was no modelling going on. A lot of the female models had opted to remote modelling, and I thought, well, you know, retro Rob remote. How's that going to work for me?
Yeah,
I didn't
that
sort of
sounds
have a
quite
space at the time.
daunting. I've only done a couple of
It
remote
was, you know,
shoots and it really doesn't feel the same as it does in person. I feel like that connection with the photographer
it can
can
be
be a
fun.
bit lost sometimes.
Well, it can, and
Yeah.
you like you say, you haven't got that sort of face to face
Yeah.
connection. So you'll end up sort of turning around here and there, going click, and what was that?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I've
when
just
there's
taken
a
a photo.
lag as well.
Do
So you're
that.
busting out all these poses, and they've missed about two, and they catch you blinking, or you got a double chin shot, or you, it's not the most flattering.
And they always load it, right? They always load
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. That's my worst nightmare is when they mass upload every single photo they've taken with no editing, and they haven't taken out all the dodgy shots, and you think, oh my goodness,
No.
do I really look like 100 years old? Are my eye bags that bad in real life? Like,
Like, I remember doing a shoot. You see, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. I was doing a vintage shoot, and I had all the vintage gear on, but I took a train to the destination, and I had my train ticket in my pocket, and it was it was a sunny day. You could see the ticket in the pocket, and the picture was just put out there, and I went, but you can see my train ticket. It's got like, it's modern. It doesn't work. And they
oh,
went,
I bet you're such
kind
a
of quirky, right?
perfectionist.
And I went, oh, can you edit it out?
Oh no, that's so annoying. And like for you, I bet that's really frustrating because you want it to be an authentic
Oh,
train
it broke
ticket in that pocket. Oh, it broke your heart. Oh, I do understand.
broke my heart.
I'm exactly the same. I've been working on some big artistic projects at the moment. I think I told you about hand painting this backdrop I was doing last night, and I've just
Yeah.
realised what a perfectionist I am. I'm up in the middle of the night thinking about it, about every single little detail, and it's just it's just intense. But I'm sure you're the same. It's
But
just
you're Oh yeah, well, if I've got to shoot, I mean, it sounds bonkers, I know, but if I've got to shoot the next, I tend not to sleep the night before. I mean, I've been up to about 4 a.m. getting things right. Everything, shoes got to be polished, everything's got to be right.
and that's for
head
when
to
you're
toe.
modelling. Don't you look really tired
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next day though? Because I have to try and go to bed at like 9 o'clock to look half okay for a shoot the next day.
I can operate on 2 hours sleep.
What? No
If it's
way.
going to,
Wow. I wish I
yeah,
was the
it's
same.
it's the buzz, for me. It's I always look at it that, well, you're almost like a band, because when you go and see your favorite band perform on stage, they're all, and then if they can then go to the next town, and then next town will say, oh, they were fantastic. I take it like that, because you just think, I'm going out there,
Yeah.
I'm retro Rob,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
gotta
You're
give
retro Rob.
100%.
So how has your
Yeah.
experience as a model influenced your approach to your photography?
It has quite a lot. I mean, for me, it's been really a really interesting journey, because, as the photography side, going back to that, I got into it because I was about to leave the modelling scene with COVID. I thought, well, I've done my time, and I can't really see anything sort of coming back after this. But a really good mate of mine said, Rob, you've always liked the Hollywood themed photography, so why don't you, play around with one of the cameras and have a go?
Yeah.
And he sent me one of his cameras, said, it's yours, keep it,
No
but please
way.
don't leave
Oh,
the
that's
scene.
so lovely.
Yeah, yeah. It was really sweet of him. So I got the camera, I bought a couple of lights online, and then started experimenting with
It's
film
quite an
noir.
expensive hobby,
the
isn't
whole-
it, photography? Because I've been trying to pick it up recently, and
Oh.
I got lent a camera from one of my lovely photographers, and it's great. But when you start looking at
Lovely.
backdrops and lights and everything, it gets quite costly.
Extremely. I looked at some of the prices, and I said, "Oh, is this the telephone number I ring?" They said, "Oh no, that's the price." So it can get very expensive. You're like, okay, maybe I won't buy that one. Maybe I'll go with the other one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can chuck a lot of money at it, but again, like all things, if you go back to some of the old photos and how they were created, how the photographers of the day, got such stunning pictures. You don't really need a lot of gear, but you do need an eye for it.
And it is all about
for
lighting back
composition.
then, isn't it? Like hard lighting. Is that what it was for the Hollywood style? Do you do spotlight?
Correct. What they call the Fresnel light, which is, like you say, it's a floodlight. And I have so much admiration for these Hollywood stars. We think we've got, I wear glasses. We think we've got poor eyesight. Their eyesight must have been blown to bits, because they're like thousands of watts of light just beaming straight into their face.
Whoa.
Yet they all sort of stand there and say, darling, I love you. And you think you've got like 2,000 watts going into your eyes.
How do they
And you're
manage
like,
that?
I bet you can't.
I feel like it's terrible because I'm a model, but I hate bright lights, and that's literally my whole job, is just having bright lights shone at my face. Yeah, I struggle with it. Like when I'm at home, it's like a bat cave. I like it all dark, candles lit. I don't allow any lights on in the house unless it's like a salt lamp, And then when I go onto set, it's like, ooh, these bright neons.
As you rightly say, I've had studio owners turn around to me and say, "Yeah, I don't know how you cope with such bright lights." So, and that's another thing that I've learned. So I incorporate that in my photography. I have got Fresnel lights, which are the big harsh floodlights, but I've managed to adapt the strobe light, which will flash just briefly to get the same effect. So I don't subject the model to intense light on the eyes.
Yeah, that's kind of
And
you.
that's another. Yeah, I just think I want it to be very comfortable for the model, and
Yeah.
because I model myself, I'm aware of,
And you want them to look
how
natural and comfortable, because it does start to show on a model's face when they're not enjoying it or they're not comfortable.
totally. I mean, that's one thing you can't hide is the emotions. If it's cold and they're comfortable, the images are not going to work.
So do you
So there's
create
a
the
lot.
sets and everything
Look,
for your photography? Do you bring vintage
yeah.
styling for the models that you bring onto the photos? Like, how does that all work?
So what I tend to do is, if when I shoot models, we discuss the whole theme that we're going to work with. I will bring in props to create. So, for example, if I'm going to photograph a female model, and I say, okay, we're going to do a jazz singer look, then we'll look at what dress she's going to wear, what accessories. I take into account the length of her hair, because the earrings, are they going to be seen? Are they going to look too small? Are they going to look too big? Necklaces, bracelets, all that sort of thing. And then I'll bring in the props, and it's a little bit, for me, I guess it's a little bit like creating the movie, because I will then turn myself into that role. So I will say, I want you to look like this, and I want this expression,
Yeah.
and then the models sort of pick it up from there. After that, I let them freestyle it, and that's where the magic starts to come in.
Yeah. I always find
Because I
models
think we
work best
feel a
when they
bit,
flow naturally in their own style of what they're used to. But I
yeah,
do think sometimes it's good to push them in that direction. And I think personally, if I was modeling for you, I like that if you gave me a character to try and be for a bit, because I see modeling kind
yeah.
of like acting. I think it really helps
Thank
you
you.
get the right poses and the right expressions when you're imagining you are actually that person.
Right. What you've just said there is so key. For me, I've had models say, I had a terrible shoot. I felt so self-conscious and blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so, when you were modeling, were you taking that role on personally, or were you the model? I mean, I guess with me, because I'm retro Rob, that's my other side. So
Yeah.
I take retro Rob as a business side of it. If somebody doesn't like my look,
Yeah.
it's the retro Rob look, not me personally.
Yeah.
And I think you have to detach yourself from that. And it is acting. I get a lot more out of models if I say to them, "Who's your favourite actress?" And they say, "Oh, so and so, so and so." And I said, "What did you like? What film did you like about?" "Oh, when she did this." And I said, "Just do that expression for me,"
Yeah.
and they can fall straight into it because they love it. Once you love something, you put 100%, and it will show on your
I
face.
completely get that. I'm like that every time I get the chance to do an Audrey Hepburn shoot, because she is my queen. She's
Right.
the
Well,
love
you
of my
look
life.
great. Well, and the thing is, you have right. So you've got facially the look, and
Thank you.
your whole persona. You can rock that look 100%. And if it's something that you feel passionate about inside, you're also giving out that vibe to the viewer. I want the viewer to look at all my photography and say, "That's a beautiful photograph," or "That is so emotional and it's touching me here," or "What's going on in that photograph?"
That is my favourite type of
It's got to tell
photography,
us.
when it either tells a story or it's capturing an emotion. One of my favourite things to do with modelling is showing emotions through my eyes. I like to express what I'm feeling through my eyes, and that's quite an
That's a,
important skill. And I think some models don't have it. I think maybe some fashion models, it's more boom, boom, strike amazing poses, but there's not that connection and with that screen. And I feel like that's what you and me love to do, is really capture that raw emotion.
and that's the thing. I was at the London Fashion Show 2023 on the catwalk, and I was playing a totally different character to what I would normally play. It was a very tribal,
Tribal.
so it was very, very different.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
I've seen
yeah,
the
it was very,
photos.
very
Was this on
different.
the runway that
Yeah,
and you had a load of body
that's
paint
right.
on you?
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
body
that you
paint. It
looked
was quite funny.
amazing. Respect to you for that. That was
Yeah.
so cool.
They were. It was. I had to go to Bruges for the rehearsal and so on, and there
Really?
was talk about making. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Wow.
a real big thing. They did an interview with me, and I think in the end I became the narrator for the interview, which was quite nice. But they were going to make a latex shirt for me and all this sort of thing, but said no, we're going to paint your body at the last minute. So I was like, okay.
Okay. I bet you thrived with
So
that
that,
though. I
that
bet
was
you're like, yeah, bring it on.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
That's
You
so
can pay,
cool.
go for it. Yeah.
I bet you, did you enjoy doing
So
the runway? Was that fun? Because I always had this deep urge that I would love to do runway. But you know me, I'm quite clumsy sometimes. I can just see myself breaking an ankle and flying off the end of the runway. As long as I do it in a stylish
you
way,
know,
I guess it's okay.
it is very, very daunting because the thing is, you have to work to a schedule. So
Yeah.
you can't freestyle it, and you can't sort of think, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
You know, there are rules, and I wasn't really aware of that. I mean, you've got something like 67 feet to walk, and that's a long old walk.
That's quite a
When
long walk. Yeah, I
you know,
hadn't
you
thought
actually,
about that really.
yeah, 67 feet.
Yeah.
That's no tripsy hill or fluffing it. That's just a straight walk.
Wow.
Getting to the end where you've got over 18 photographers with cameras flashing away, not look at any particular one, get down there, turn round, and not walk into the person who's coming up by your side, whose
Yes. I
turn
think that's
is
where I would go wrong.
that's where you sort of turn around, crash into them, throw them
Yeah.
into the audience.
I guess the good thing for male models
So
is usually you're not in high heels though, which probably makes things slightly easier.
it was slightly easier, but I had on 20-hole steel toe cap boots with pink laces.
Pink laces.
So
Wow.
that was, yeah,
Very funky.
and pink silk trousers. So that I had to sort of maneuver around without looking like jump, jump, jump. You have to do that quite sort of neatly.
Amazing. So how do you kind of preserve your traditional artistic expression with your photography? Because it sounds like you use a lot of modern technology to help you with your photo shoots,
Yeah.
but you say you like to keep kind of the old school style with it.
I do. There is. I mean, there were tricks that were used back in the day. You know, with reflective dishes, etc. Hardcore studios in Paris, they still produce the same recipe, if you like, for the Hollywood style, and they've shot, you know, all the sort of top actors and actresses of the time and today actresses. When you look at how things are done, it's, you know, very sharp lights and hard lights above bouncing off reflective dishes so that we get this beautiful glow under the face and so on. And I try and think, well, you know, let's not use too many LEDs or any, you know, extra technology. Let's try and work with simple techniques and produce. And also, it is for me, it's like when you've had a beautiful meal and you think this is stunning, and it goes back through the family generations. You know, your uncle or your aunt or your mum or your dad or whatever produces this amazing meal. I mean, in the Caribbean world, it's a nightmare because nobody ever writes down the recipe. You know, so you'll have a stunning dish and you'll say, "Oh, that's amazing. What did you put in it?" Well, a little bit of this and a bit of that, and I'm like, "Where? What's in here?" But of course, when those people are gone, the meal's gone.
Yeah.
So for me, all of this traditional style is to keep it alive, so the next generation pick it up and go from there. And for me, it's, you know, it's really heartwarming to see, you know, somebody younger like yourself to still continue that passion of a style that is iconic. It's iconic.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I actually want to get into more vintage. I don't know if I told you, but the way I got into modelling, I used to work for Goodwood Actors Guild. Have you been to Goodwood's? Because
Wow.
you would love their events.
Never.
What?
Never. I have been.
Rob, that's
I
terrible.
know. To be honest, it is a little
You
bit.
need to
'Cause
go.
I must admit, I
You need
found
to.
it quite daunting.
You know what? Because they asked me
What?
to come back and work for them. So basically, before I would do acting and modelling for all their big events like Goodwood Revival, but also their private ball events. And they recently asked me to come
Fantastic.
back again. But the problem is when I was younger, that was my way into dressing up and getting in front of the camera. I didn't know any other way of doing so. And I have to admit, the pay isn't that great. So now modelling and
No.
working for myself, it doesn't really benefit me the same way. But I did think about like saying, I'll come back as long as I can have my own character and dress up and do my thing. And I'll, you know, and I'm thinking maybe I should tell them that I'm going to bring Retro Rob too. And we do a duo and we come there
Oh,
and we just cause
that
a
would
scene. How fun would that be? Yeah?
listen, they're going to have to like the AA in to reroute the traffic. It's just going to
They
go too
would love
crazy.
you. They would be literally, without sounding inappropriate, I can just imagine all these women just chasing you around the event going, Retro Bob! be so funny. I remember event I did for them. I was they got me to be a drunken bride, and so I had the wedding dress and the flowers and the veil, and I had to go around, and I had a fake husband. It was fantastic, and we had like a slow dance. We had a wedding cake which we cut, and people didn't know that we were actors, so they thought we were part of the event. So I ended up in bridal magazines, and I had people giving me free champagne and breakfast. It was great, and can't you imagine us two just going around just causing an absolute scene, doing some kind of mad characters like Bonnie and Clyde? Brilliant.
That honestly, I'm up for that. 100%.
I think I actually need to pitch that to them, and maybe because they've got such a great range of vintage cars and planes, maybe we could even arrange like a photo shoot there one day.
I think that would definitely go crazy, and like you say, it's a passion. I mean, what I found is that in the photography world, the passion is it's dancing, music, cars, planes, trains, whatever. That whole romantic look, people love to see that, and it's nice, walking down the road dressed like this, and people like, ooh, let me take a photo on my phone. It's I've done stuff at train stations and vintage train stations, and they love all that look. So definitely we must do that. So you mentioned put that on the car.
Yeah, put that on the cars. So you mentioned that belief in your sorry, Rob, what did you just say?
Put that on that.
This is like the other night when we were on the call, and you were saying some slang to me, and I just don't understand slang, and I was like, "Excuse me, Rob, what did you just say? What?
Yeah,
I thought you said badger."
Let me put that through my Google. Yeah, badger. Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother.
Oh, darling, I'm sorry. I'm from Chichester. I don't understand that lingo. Badger.
I was imagining it, when they've got YouTube and they've got like the lyrics coming up there, and it's like badger. It's like, did you say badger?
My badger. Yo, my badger.
Yeah, my badger. Yes. Oh, you got the earpiece in.
Yeah.
Yes, my badger.
Yes, my badger. Brilliant. Oh my.
It will probably pick up.
Yeah.
It'll add you or something. See the word on which.
So changing the subject slightly, you mentioned that belief in yourself and your projects, which inspires others to follow. What's the most important lesson you've learned about self-confidence over the years?
Confidence is everything. I think if people look at the end of the day, we all idolize people who are confident. Let's be straight. Your favorite actor, singer, whatever the person is, you look at them and think, I want to be like that, because they're confident and they know where they're going.
It's so true, isn't it? Confidence is everything. Even if you're not that good at something that you're doing, the confidence is what sells it. Like sometimes you see artists and they're really not that great. That sounds really mean, but their artistic skills might not be amazing, but they know how to sell it and they know how to speak about it in such a confident way that you buy into that, And I think it's the same with modelling.
Well, you say that, and it is 100% true. I tend to throw myself into the deep end and then try and swim from there. I got into the photography, and I loved it so much. But here we go now. Three months on, I'm getting so cocky. I'm thinking, I'm going to shoot a model. So I hire a model to shoot in a studio. Bearing in mind, I've only just picked up a camera. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's confident.
I've got all these dials and I don't know what they are. What's M for? Michael?
No
I don't know
idea.
what that means. No, apparently manual. But I'm
Yeah, just go on automatic or manual to start with. That's what I've been doing, but apparently that's a right cop out.
Correct. So I've ordered the place in the studio. I've booked it. I've got the model, and the model's English isn't amazing. So I put myself right in it. He's a male model, good-looking fella. Got in there, and I said, this is the day before. I said, what does M stand for on the camera? Oh, that's manual. And I said, and P, priority. You're still coming tomorrow, aren't you? I said, yeah, of course, I'm there. Get there. I didn't know how to work the lights. They didn't show me because I didn't know what I was doing there. They said, well, you didn't ask for the lights. They're there. So I thought,
so they left
there's
you
an on
to
and off
it. You
switch.
didn't even have anyone assisting you with that. Wow.
No, absolutely nothing. So switch the lights on. Saw a couple of numbers on the back. Apparently that's the temperature setting and changing of the lights. Tweak those a bit. The guy was going, you're okay, aren't you? I goes, of course. But I just made out. I knew what I was doing. The shots came out really well.
Oh, really?
He said, best shoot ever.
No way,
Yeah,
that's
these
amazing.
are
I
the
can't
best.
wait to see some of these.
I'll
Fantastic.
show you them. And the studio went, so you're telling me you've never done this? But I said, no, you've done really well,
But don't you
really
find as
sharp.
a
And I
model
said,
that you learn so much just by watching? Like when you're, I think photographers don't really realize how much like free knowledge we get as models because we're watching them do the lighting, the camera settings. You know, we, I remember
correct.
I worked with a photographer called Peter Colson and he's like a pro with lighting. And I got to model
Know
for one
that
of his
name.
workshops. Yeah, we've all heard him. He's like a god, isn't he? When it comes to photography
Yeah, yeah,
world. But yeah,
absolutely.
it was
Absolutely.
great getting to learn from him because he was teaching the other photographers I was modeling, but I got to listen in and hear about the way that light bounces on the skin. And it was basically a workshop to chase
Yes.
sunlight. And yeah, I think it's just great that us models, if we really do kind of listen in, we could learn so much. And I think that's probably why a lot of models do
Oh,
become photographers because the inspiration's
yes.
there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they should. I mean, and that's the lovely thing about it. I mean, I can do both sides now, I guess, and it's really it's quite sweet actually because I have female models say, well, you know, how should I pose? How should I look? So I'll be, you know, in central London, maybe doing a location shoot, and go, okay, you got to walk like this. Let me show you. Let me show you. And I'm walking down, you know,
You giving it all, strutting down the
like
street.
Tower Bridge or something. Watch what I'm walking at. Watch how I'm walking, and they're like, okay, okay, let's start standing there, and the sort of general public are like, what's going on here? What's happening here?
Fantastic.
Um,
That's so cool.
but they trust me with that. When they see the image at the end, they're like, now I know
And
why you
probably
said that.
seeing you be confident, not caring about what people think, and strutting your stuff down the street then gives them the confidence to be able to do that because they're looking up to you.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. And it's funny. I think a lot of us, you know, these days, people don't want to stand out too much. They want to sort of step back. The
Why is
80s,
that, do you
it
think?
was
I
all
think
about
it's so boring. When you go out into the street in Chichester, not just Chichester, but it's just my local, I look around and it's just a
just
sea of
general.
grey and black, and a lot of the fashion sense is just so mundane. And I think, come on, guys, don't you want to express yourselves a little? Don't you want to like show like who you are? But yeah, I mean, I like coming to London because it's slightly more adventurous. I think there's more people
The,
that do kind of explore more with their fashion and Brighton, but yeah, it's just
yeah,
I personally don't understand because I think every day is a new way to express yourself. And also, what if I suddenly died randomly and they find me in a bad outfit? That's like my worst nightmare. Like I want to be elegantly lying across the road, you know, in a flamboyant dress. You know, I want to look fantastic. You know, I don't want to be found in a tracksuit.
Sophia, I think you and me are going to get on just fine. I'm all about like visually, you've got to look right in case
Yeah.
something happens. I mean, I remember going to Camden Market, and this is when my wife was my girlfriend at the time, and she said, "Quick, we're going to go to Camden Market, you know, pick up some things because back in the 80s, you pick up some bargains. Everybody sort of just put on a pair of jeans and whatever." And I said, so I dressed like this. And it was like, what? Oh, come on! You're not going to dress like that because people are just going to be all over you. I
Oh
don't
no,
want
that's
all.
so
And I said, look,
toxic.
I said, you're never going to know who you meet. I said, you might meet somewhere. She goes, we're not going to meet anybody. We are literally just going to go and buy and look for a chair and maybe a sofa there secondhand. So I went, okay. So I dressed anyway.
Of course.
Got there within 2 minutes. The German Hat magazine came up to me
No
and said,
way.
oh, your hat, can we interview? And I was like, sure you can. So
You're
they
always
said, well,
ready
we're
for
doing
camera. I love it. Fantastic.
like, oh, now this is going to be, he's going to be here forever.
Yeah.
So I was chatting to them. They said, well, we'll only probably use, you know, very small picture of you at the end of the day in this hat magazine. Are you cool? I said, yeah, of course, because this is before the internet was a big scene. Next thing you know, I'm front cover of this magazine in Germany, yeah,
Wow,
interview and all this sort of
really?
stuff.
Just from going out looking for a
Yeah,
chair and you end up publicly all
just
over the place
exactly
looking phenomenal. What hat
all
were
over
you
the place.
wearing that day?
I had on a black Homburg,
A black Homburg. I have
which
to admit, I
is,
don't know what that is.
yeah, because this is like a fedora,
Yeah, I'm loving
so
the
the brim's
fedora.
slightly different. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
And this car, I had to really track that down to get that sort of look because that's an original style from the 40s.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it
but
suits you.
it was really, and that's how, thank you. This is how I always look.
I
You
like
never
that
know who you're going to bump.
your past partner didn't want you to dress up, wanted you to just be a bit more normal and fit in, and you were like, no, I'm not doing that. And respect to you,
No,
because I've had
yeah.
partners in the past where they've gone, are you really going to do that? Are you gonna wear that? Like, that's a bit much, isn't it? And I am so anti that. I think we should be bigging people up to be big and bold and really show themselves off. Like, who cares? Who cares who's looking? Do you know what I mean? Like, just embrace it. And anyway, the ones that do embrace it are the ones that usually have followers and are doing really well because they don't care about what other people are thinking, you know? No more time squashing
Sophia,
yourself down.
No, that's the thing, and I'm from a time when it was all about your image,
Yeah.
because that's how people knew who you were. There was no social media, it was. I mean, I used to look, and I still look to a certain extent, like a singer from the 80s called Kid Creole.
Yes, I
Kid
think I've
Creole
seen
and
a
the
few pictures,
Coconut.
but you must show me some more when we get off this
Right.
podcast, because
Uh,
I've
oh,
heard
well,
about it
yeah.
before. Didn't you say that you used to have people
And so,
come and bombard you thinking you were him?
oh, totally. I mean, it happened to me. I'm personal friends with him now. I mean, back in the day, there I was looking at his albums and seeing him on television, etc., and
Yeah.
thinking that guy's so cool, so cool. And now here, fast forward, we're
And now
friends,
you're
personal
friends. How
friends.
did that happen then?
I met him. I remember I was working in Selfridges at the time, and I was around, I don't know, probably about 18, 19 years of age, and I had the hat on and everything. I couldn't grow a moustache so well back in the days when I was a young fella. I used to colour it in with the eyeliner. I mean, make the eyeliner work for you, why not? But the only problem is, by the end of the evening, if it was raining,
You'd have like,
run down.
you look like, is it Joe Rogan that has the one that goes down the face?
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Or you girl in the club and kiss her goodbye, and she'd have a moustache on the side of her cheek,
Oh, that's so
and you'd be
funny.
like,
Oh, well, us women do that all the time with
I,
our red lipstick. Why not print a moustache on them?
yeah, I used to, you'd be like Cinderella. You think, I've got to get home before it all
Yeah.
runs, and everything turns into pumpkins. So I met him walking along with my mate. We'd just come out of a pub in Oxford Street there, and walking towards me with his PA, and he was wearing this beautiful suit and hat that was on his album cover. And I just thought, that guy looks so slick. He's got the same suit and hat as Kid Creole. Where did he get that from? You can't buy that in London. And my mate went, "It's Kid Creole there." And I said, "No, it's not." I said, "I'm Kid Creole." And
I'm
he
Kid
went,
Creole.
"No, I think that's really him." And I said, "No way." I said, "Nobody's." I said, "I'm the man. I'm the one that looks like him." So we carried on walking. I walked right past him and got to about, I don't know, 7, 8 feet. And I thought, I think it is,
No
I
way.
turned around. He'd already turned around looking at me. His PA went, "No, that's not right. You look like twins." And he went, "We look so alike." And I said,
It's hilarious.
"Yeah, we do."
Did you get a photo
So
together?
I got his. No, we didn't have at the time
No.
because we didn't have the phones at that time. I got him
Oh,
to
yeah,
sign one of my
sorry.
silk hanky. I said, "Yeah, yeah." You stand there with your cloak over you and your flash gun. That's how old we were. No, it
It was
wasn't
a
like that.
long
It was.
time ago, Rob.
We had to do an artist impression. We had to draw an artist impression there. So I got his autograph. Then went to see him at the Town and Country Club, which was in Kilburn. Kentish Town. I beg your pardon. And I saw him on stage like 3 years later, and I made sure I got at the front of the stage there. And he got on stage, he looked down, he laughed and thought, "It's that guy again, it's that guy again." Met him after that, and we sort of connected from there. And then I saw him at the Hammersmith Apollo, and he said, "Rob, we got to stop doing this. We need to just be friends now. Swap numbers." And then we stayed there together. But I say about 3 or 4 months ago, I saw him at London Palladium. I dressed up like this.
No way.
I was with my mate, the photographer Nick there. We were at the front row, and I said, "I'm just going to nip to the gents." Went to the gents. One of the ushers said, "Yeah, if you go to the back stairs, it's quicker." I got mobbed. One of the women in the crowd went, "Oh my God, it's Kid Creole!"
That's so
Done.
funny. Did you just go with
Done.
it? You're like, yeah, it's me.
Oh, I was totally with it. Men and women running over, standing there, men trembling with their camera, with their girlfriends going, oh, and she's going, get a picture of me, get it right. And he's going, I will, I will, I will. And I'm like, relax, just take your time. I said, you want to do a video? Can I? I said, you go
Oh
for
my
it.
God.
Just do a
You
video.
literally made their
So
day and they have no idea that it
I
was
knew
his doppelganger.
no idea. Kid Creole is totally cool with me impersonating him. His wife was there in the crowd trying to hand me a backstage pass,
Really?
and she's yeah, and they were pushing her away, going, "No, no, I'm next," and I'm thinking, "That's his wife, that's his wife." She leaned over and went, "That's for you, Rob. I'll see you later."
That's
I went,
so
"Bye."
funny. Oh my God. It must be very surreal,
It
like
was so
walking into someone that looks just like you, especially because you dress like him too. That
yeah.
must be very odd.
It was so weird, and you know what? It was such a lovely experience. I met Mikey Craig from Culture Club, the bass guitarist,
Oh wow. So you
in the
met
green
loads of
room. We were
amazing
there.
people then.
Yeah, Will Mellor was there, and I know Will. I've worked with him before, so it was a lovely experience. And I just laugh inside because I think this is crazy. And people, of course, that have known Kid Creole for half of his life there, were just staring at me as if, how come you look so like him? You know.
Because you've had experience on
I'm like,
TV too, haven't you, Rob? So how did that come about?
yeah. With that was my Vespers. That was my
What was it
Vespers, and
Vespers?
again looking like
Was that with
yeah,
the
again
vintage
looking like
fashion
Kid
too
Creole.
then?
So yeah, so I used to dress like this anyway, and I remember. I mean, I'm still again very tight friends with the family in Edgware Road, our Aegis, the scooter place there, and I know all the family there. And they said, "Well, you know, you look like that singer, Kid Creole." I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Mm.
So Claudia was at the time doing some TV work, and she said, "Would you come on TV on Men and Motors and just dress as Kid Creole and talk about how you got into scooters?" I said, "Yeah, of course I can do that." So there's an interview with me dressed as Kid Creole with a Vespa, chatting about
Brilliant.
scooters,
That's so
and
cool.
it was quite because it was when all the congestion charge stuff came in, so we were trying to get people on two wheels. So Kid Creole loved it. He laughed. He
You
went,
thought that
"That's
was
great."
fantastic as well. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cool. Oh, that's amazing. So how do you balance gratitude for past collaborations with pushing yourself to grow and explore new creative opportunities?
it's to for me doors open up as you sort of meet people and move on. That's what I've realised. And my creativity. If somebody said to me sort of 20 years ago, "Oh, you're going to do photography, you're going to do modelling, you're going to travel, you're going to meet all these people," it would have been so daunting. And I couldn't imagine myself doing that. I sort of dressed and looked the way I looked for more or less for myself in that
You
respect.
were a
But
walking
I
model, a
think,
piece of art ready to be found.
yeah,
It's like you always wanted to get in
right. Well,
front of those
thank you.
cameras. I was exactly the
I
same.
did.
Always dressed for something,
And
but not quite knowing what, and just wanting that chance to
yeah,
express yourself in some way.
but it was that, you know what, and that's what the 80s was about, because you had all the genres. You had punk, metal, goth, soul, anything like that. And you could dress, and you started to get known for how you looked. It was like, I remember back in the day when it was all sort of skinheads and rude boys when I was at school. And even then it was everything had to be particularly shiny boots and all this sort of look. So I ended up being called Smoothie.
Smoothie.
Everybody had a name. Everyone had a nickname back in the 80s, and it would be like, "Well, you're Smoothie,"
You're
and I'm like, "Well,
smoothie.
what? Why am I Smoothie? I'm with the guys, I'm like, it's all into Scar, Rude Boys, the Specials, and the Beat and Selector, and all of that." And it was like, "Yeah, but everything for you's got to be nice, isn't it? So you're a bit smooth." So
You're
I'm
a
like,
bit
"Oh, okay."
smooth.
So you're a bit smooth. So your bomber jacket, mine was all perfect, and your boots were all shiny and all that sort of look. So they said, "Well, everything's so particular." So it was like, "Oh, Smoothie." So you had a name, you got stuck with that name, and then, of course, then dressing like this, I got called Kid after Kid Creole, and then you just got known. So people saw you on the street, and they would know who you were and how you dressed. I mean, back in the 80s, again, as I said, I'd go to work with a cane, white gloves, coat draped over the shoulder, fedora, and spats, and be walking, to go to my day job. And they'd see you walking down the high street, or Edgware Road, or Oxford Street, Bond Street, and it would be like, "I know you. I've seen you before, fella." So that was your own promotion. Whereas now, of course, I'd give you a little tag on social media, and that's how you see me. So you would get known for your vintage look. You would be Sophia, the vintage one. Oh yeah, I know her.
Exactly. And you are
Or
definitely
I'd
known
like
for
to.
your vintage looks. Looks.
Oh yeah,
Vintage looks. Mr.
the
Smooth. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to be calling you
try.
that from now on. Smoothie.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, you've been so great to chat to today. Your stories are so fascinating and you're really inspiring. And I'm just really looking forward to being able to work with you in the future.
100%. This 2025 is the year. I'm telling you, it's going to be great.
Exactly.
Great.
That's it for this week's episode of Creative Conversations. You can find out more about Rob on Instagram. His model account is Model Retro Rob, and for photography, Retro R Photography. Creative Conversations was hosted by Sophia Gray. It was recorded at Granary Studios, audio production by Granary Digital, additional production support and editing by James Jones. For more information, visit our website at granary.digital. To contact the show, email podcast@granary.digital. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on social media.